Good Sunday afternoon to you, Roger Hill of Wuthering Heights. This weather video is driven by 802cars.com. They represent 802 Toyota, Twin City Subaru, and 802 Honda, all located off of exit 7 on Interstate 89. Kind of a broad picture here. A couple things I want to show you here. We have a kind of a persistent Bermuda high, which has been kind of keeping a storm track with weather systems that have been developing across the west. Some of that sort of a southern track out of the Gulf of Mexico, been producing plumes of moisture. There's currently some precipitation across just to the south of our region. Some of that may just barely get into the Massachusetts-Vermont border region with a couple showers, but for the most part it's pushed on to the south. Meanwhile, you got a strip of sunshine, and this is allowing temperatures to warm up very nicely on this Sunday. We'll even see slightly warmer conditions work in on Monday. And Monday looks like a good project weather day. So we have two good project weather days coming in, both the rest of today, Sunday, except down by the Massachusetts border. All of Monday, it looks like the next one after that will be on Wednesday. That's more than what we've had during that last period last week, which was about as ugly as it gets. A little bit more of a zoom in here. You can see where the precipitation is very, very close, if not even reporting at Bennington there for a second, Keene, New Hampshire, and so forth. This is where precipitation is falling mostly as rain. We have a little bit of rain up here, and of course it's cold enough to snow in some of the higher elevations of western portions of Montana, and you can see as much as maybe as much as 5-6 inches in some locations there. Big story for wind gusts have been associated with this area of low pressure, a bit of a southwest wind, nothing too terrible though there. And then along the U.S.-Canadian border in points north, we've had a little bit of an area of low pressure here, a fairly potent one that's moving across the northern stream, associated the polar branch of the jet stream, and that's going to stay to the north. In the meanwhile, we're seeing this nice strip of sunshine, make the most of it. Looking at the GFS ensemble, we're going to use this to start off here. So the main bit of business jumps out here. This is some precipitation that's going to happen on Monday night and Tuesday. And that's going to be one little stretch. And that's going to be followed by some drier weather. And then the business that gets in here later in the week. So looking at the total QPF, you can see that we're only looking at a little bit more than 2 to 3/10 of an inch here for this first go around early in the week. No threats for any excessive rainfall, thunderstorms, nothing like that. That next threat arrives here as we get into the later part of the week here, and mostly into probably Friday, Saturday looks like the best chances for that. Also a little bit of gradient wind issues. Let's check the 850 hectopascal wind speeds. Illustrate the point. It's not even being picked up currently by the GFS ensemble. European does pick it up, but maybe it's a thing that's going to be under margins here, and that's good news to see. Looking at 850 hectopascal temperatures, all that above the 0 degrees centigrade line. You can see that here. And this is where we're going to see some precipitation. And then it does go cold enough to see some snowfall, but it dries out during this period. And then the next chance, it warms up. Now, looking at the precipitable water amounts, it does kind of explain the story here. So a little bit of a higher run here, and then a little bit better. The European is definitely focusing a little bit more on this, and you can see some of the outliers in terms of the GFS ensemble, and a little greater than 1.1. This is like, we're talking maybe 2 standard deviations, not a big deal. Looking at 2-meter temperatures, you can see really coming out of today's high temperature, a little bit of a dip into the 40s tonight, and we're headed toward temperatures are going to make a run towards 70 degrees tomorrow afternoon, Monday, and then we cool off, and most of the rest of the week is nothing too exciting, and we're back in a little bit of the doldrums of a cooler weather regime. Checking dew point temperatures, you can see that we're in that sort of 45-degree temperature range, and you typically want to see something greater than 50, certainly 55, to see any thunderstorm activity. So this is not real conducive. Anything that develops in western portions of New York could sweep into the region on Friday, and there is a very minor thunderstorm threat. In terms of wind shear, nothing to worry about because this is a dry period. However, we'll see some shear potential here with low instability, maybe some moderate to high shear, something we'll have to keep a close eye on for the end of the week. 7-day total accumulated precipitation, otherwise known as the QPF, quantitative precipitation forecast. And you can see the 1-inch mark is roughly right across Vermont, only a ½ inch up to the north and east. Looking at temperatures, you can see basically running a little bit below normal weighted temperatures. 3 days later, what do we find? Temperatures going below normal. So not much of a warming trend, but this is weighted over 5-day stretches. And these are just the maximum temperatures only. Antecedent conditions, percent of normal precipitation. This is centered on Washington County. You can see that this is normal 100%. 365 days. We're basically close to normal finally. And that's after really seeing the rainfall pump up. This is month to date. This is over the last 30 days. We're about 150% of normal. It looks like we're going to continue in that kind of mode here for the next couple of weeks at least. We're above normal with the 2-month measurement as well as the 3-month measurement. You can see that we're just a little bit above normal, but closer to a 6-month and year to date from January 1st through the, in this particular case, this was the 4th of May, and it looks like a lot of Vermont was showing the same thing. You can see Addison County, Bennington, Caledonia above normal recently, and that includes all of our counties here. The least amount may be Grand Isle County. Now that's even above normal. So we've been doing pretty good. Bennington County might be a little bit of the least amount here in far southern Vermont. And looking at Windham and Windsor County, you can see still most recently above normal. And it's brought us back to a little bit above the normal mark here for the last 6 months, 9 months, 1 year. And this is the latest 6-hourly increments of the European model. You can see that dry weather works in for Monday. We have a little frontal system that's going to work on in, it looks like on Monday night into the day on Tuesday. Beyond that, another area of higher pressure builds across the Great Lakes. 1028 hectopascals are looking pretty good there. Until a warm front begins to push into the region. Now that warm front holds back as a fairly strong area of higher pressure again to the north and east across Quebec where temperatures are a lot colder. These colder high temperature, high pressure areas I should say, continue to kind of hold things at bay, and then once the dam breaks we get into a little bit heavier precipitation patterns. And this is exactly what we're looking at as we get into the day on Thursday night into Friday. And it looks like it's warm enough to be all rain, thankfully. And then the very tail end, the very back end, looks like precipitation exits before the colder air chases it. And we get another area of higher pressure. It looks like that builds in basically the latter half of Saturday into Sunday. Could be a fine weekend, or that precipitation to the south of us could also come in. So it's take it with a grain of salt at this point. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.